So welcome again, everyone. My name is 𝗬𝗲𝗍𝗶𝗃𝗲. I'm the coordinator of the 𝗬𝗵𝗏𝘁 project, and you can see lots of my colleagues here being present. We are all participating as partners in the 𝗬𝗵𝗏 project, and this is the 5th webinar we organize within the project, and this is part of our policy work that we organize these webinars, and we very much welcoming you. This is a meeting we are recording, so this is really up to you. If you would like to switch off your cameras during the whole meeting, that's fine with us, but we are recording this because we would like to use your insights, your contribution for our policy recommendation for the roadmap we are creating in this project. And before we start, I would like to say a few words about the project and about this meeting, that why we are organizing this meeting. So for this, let me just share my presentation quickly. So seeing your names, I know that many of you are familiar with the project, but there are always people joining for the first time to this webinar series. So let me just say a few words regarding the project, what we are doing here in the 𝗬𝗵𝗏 project. So this project it's as its title saying, it's about streaming girls into the higher education in any STEAM fields. And we have two specific focus we work in the project, and one is that we are promoting and we are experimenting with the STEAM approach, so what the art means in the and what the art does within the STEAM. And the second focus is on the gender inclusiveness, so how we can form or how we can create the activities so they are more gender aware, more gender sensitive as activities. And this is quite a large cooperation, because we are from 19 countries, and we are 21 partners on board with one affiliated partner. And regarding the activities, I am really proud to say that we are doing all kinds of activities in the project. So what we are doing is that we are experimenting with activities, because we want to see that how to make educational activities which are for motivating girls entering into STEM tertiary education. So how to make these activities more gender sensitive. We have a talent nurturing workshop, which is focusing on the age of 12, between the age 12 18. So this is really for teenage girls. And we have hands-on activities in science centers and museums. And here we are reformulating the methodologies that are already used to facilitate the activities at these institutions. And we have a mentoring program for MA students and PhD students, which we are going to end in Budapest in June. This is going to be a public competition, by the way. And we have a policy webinar series what we organize within this project, and this is the webinar. So this is part of this webinar series. We would like to see that how we can engage the stakeholders to create more gender inclusive career paths and education for all. And then because this project is about promoting the STEAM activities, we have a virtual makerspace, and we have local community groups as well, all with the aim for collecting and sharing best practices and creating discussion among the teachers, the researchers, so the different stakeholders. This virtual makerspace is part of the 𝗬𝗵𝗏 website, and all kind of information can be found on it, including resources of gender responsive STEM education activities and events currently running in the topic of STEAM activities. So, for instance, we are featuring lots of activities which is implemented by different projects. And then let me share a few words about that, how we are creating our policy recommendations. So we have different phases, and these different phases dedicated to different aims. Well, first of all, just like for any other roadmaps, policy recommendations, we are collecting what was said already. So we studied what other project recommendation, what EU strategies, official documents are saying regarding how to improve gender equality in STEM education and research and innovation. And then we are collecting insights. So we are using our project to create new input for the recommendations. And we are in this phase. But these activities, they are not coming after each others, I mean, in time. So some of the activities are already being organized here. And then after collecting our insights, we are going to create the roadmap, which will be still validated. So we are going to organize other validation workshops, and of course, it is going to be presented. And one of our task we still have to do is to find out how we will build a community around this roadmap. So this is an information which is coming towards the end of the project. Because this is the 5th webinar, it means that we were already thinking a lot how to do the roadmap. And so we came to a few conclusions regarding this. And because I would like to explain a little bit that how so what are our plan, how to formulate the recommendation and what kind of framework to use for it. I just would like to share that what are going to be, or what are our principles to create the roadmap. So our starting point, as probably you all know, is that there is a persistent gender gaps in STEAM education and research. And at the same time, there are lots of policy action and commitments already on. There are EU-level strategies, there are national strategies, curricula, but still there is this persistent gender gaps. So this is really obvious that we have to address the structural and the cultural barriers, which is not easy because it requires multidimensional interventions. So a couple of interventions idea is listed here. And I have to say that we aim, or at least we know that we would need to cover all of these interventions, activities, ideas. So we know that we should say something about how to initiate educational reforms, how to reformulate curricula. We know that we need to touch the institutional governance. We need to say something about the accessibility of those who have the leadership capacity in their hands. So we know that all these areas should be covered. And in a way, we are here to talk about this, that how to cover all of these activities. And we also know that when we do the recommendation, we should target those who have these resources in their hand, who can be taken accountable for the decisions. So this is one of our aim as well. And so we wanted to turn these principles into practice. So this is going to be the framework for all recommendations. We have 4 target groups. So we have the primary, pre-primary, secondary education. We have the higher education as a target stakeholder, and with the research performing organizations. We have the research funding organizations, public authorities, and we have those who are really connected with the workforce, so STEM professionals and workforce, so the STEAM employers, the business, science, technology, and engineering field. And today we are going to talk about recommendations which belongs to these stakeholder groups with a specific angle on women and entrepreneurship, or women in entrepreneurship. And just to explain a little bit further, So we are going to categorize not only under the stakeholders, but under different priority areas. And the priority areas are further breakdown into specific objectives. This structure is really similar to previous roadmaps, plus the gender equality plans framework requirement as well. So we are working with priority areas and specific objectives. And today, we are not presenting the recommendations under this framework because this is something we will do after we finalize the recommendations based on your insights and discussion results. So this is the framework which I wanted to show you, at least to communicate that we are already thinking how to group, how to categorize, and with what kind of principles to show the recommendations. And I am supposed to do a very short introduction here. So that's why I already jump into how are going to work here today. So we will have breakout room sessions with three distincting topics, but they are really similar to each other. And we are going to work for 40 minutes. And there will be facilitators for each of the rooms. You will be free to assign to the room you wish to be on the first place. So for each of the room, we have a facilitator with different topics. And after, so you will be guided through the discussion with different questions. And once the 40 minutes is over, we will come back and we will have like a plenary session. And during this plenary session, the facilitator will share what have been discussed in your rooms. And of course, all the participants will be welcome to share your further thoughts as well. So at this point, I would like to ask the facilitators. Oh no, sorry. Before I ask the facilitators to say a few words about the topics, I would like to also share that this is going to be the platform we are going to use to work together. This was shared in an email I sent yesterday. So those who registered today, you didn't receive it, but this is something we are going to share in the chat. And so you just click on this link and you will be let in to this concept board platform as a guest. And what you will find at this working space is something like this, what you see here. So you will see the list of the recommendations, and there will be different possibilities to work with the recommendation, which will be shared in the breakout rooms. So before we go to the breakout rooms, I would like to ask Ralica, 𝗬𝗂𝗏 and Anne-Charlotte to share a few words about your breakout rooms, what is going to be the topic you will cover there.
Good afternoon. Since I will lead the first group, I will start. It is a pleasure for me to facilitate the session that will focus on the policy recommendations that are related to the inclusive and gender-sensitive STEM education in entrepreneurship. So in the breakout room, we will focus on the different policy recommendations that we actually came up with. And basically what we are going to focus is how to integrate entrepreneurship into the formal curriculum and extracurricular activities. So we can ensure that both girls and boys are involved in STEAM and entrepreneurial discovery from an early age. So, of course, we will focus most on the girls' participation in STEAM pathways, and also we would like to explore different options of teachers' knowledge and capacities and how we can strengthen them so we can address more effectively the gender stereotypes and promote equal opportunities in STEAM learning environment. So this is very shortly about the session that is going to follow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the first breakout room will be titled as Gender-Sensitive Education. So this is the breakout room which really deals with the entrepreneurial learning and STEM. And Sanya, would you mind to be the next one to say a few words about your room?
Yes, thank you, Katalin. Okay, hello everyone. I'm glad that today we will have together opportunity to discuss some relevant topics, and preferably we will come to recommendations or updates those already drafted about first of all how to what would be the best support to women entrepreneurship from the side of stakeholders, what kind of mechanism they should design or redesign in order to support financially and non-financially women entrepreneurs, and what are the key areas where action is needed. So I guess we could also sort out the priority areas because we have already some 7 recommendations, I think, yes, drafted. And we will discuss them and provide some our insights based on our so far experience, because not of all of these listed recommendations are new for us. We mentioned them for many years, but the environment has changed, and I believe we could also contribute with some upgrading or updating the recommendations already drafted.
Okay, thank you. So this breakout room is titled as Women Entrepreneurship in STEAM, and this is really going to be about the women entrepreneurs who are already like operating in STEAM fields, or helping them, supporting them to start their enterprises within a STEM field or in connection to STEAM fields. And the third room will be facilitated by Charlotte, which is going to be about...
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. So in the third group, we're going to discuss inclusive innovation ecosystems in STEM, and looking more into like how supporting how ecosystem can better support girls and women's participation. So we have selected a set of 7 recommendations for which we would like to have your opinion, feedback, and eventual additions and comments on what could be missing and how to offer a better support ecosystem, including mechanisms, type of programs, and how it should look for to improve participation of girls and women.
Okay, thank you. So the third one is going to be called the Inclusive Innovation Ecosystem, the third breakout room. Now we are going to share what we were discussing during the breakout rooms. So I will call the facilitators one by one and ask you to please share what we discussed, and I don't know, to give your first impression, and if there was any important recommendation regarding the recommendation. And for the first room, we were just speaking about that what would be the first most important recommendation. And maybe here, Gregory, you can step in because we couldn't finish this part of our discussion. So Ralitza, the floor is yours again. Please share your thoughts about the breakout room discussion.
Okay, so it was a very small group, but 3 of us, Gregory and Katalin and me. But what we managed to do is to go through all the recommendations that were provided beforehand. And basically, thanks to Gregory's support, we managed to fine-tune and to put some stress into recommendations that were provided. So taking into account that the amount of recommendations was a lot, I mean 8 recommendations. We spent a lot of time on the first couple of them. The first one related with entrepreneurial competence development and the integration within the STEAM curricular. So basically what Gregory proposed is basically to think more realistically, because there two different approaches. The first one is basically the module that is going to be incorporated within the curricula, and this is easiest approach. And the second one is basically to have different learning materials that are linked with entrepreneurship incorporated in different subjects, STEM subjects. So, of course, this second approach was considered better, but it requires, of course, incentives for the teachers and more work to be done. And it's not very realistic in a short term if there is no support from the national or European authorities. So basically, it is a matter also of political will. So the second thing that we have been focusing our attention on was the second recommendation related with the STEM entrepreneurship programs for girls from 10 onwards. We decided to rephrase and refocus a little bit the recommendations, and basically here we have discussed what are the best methods of promoting entrepreneurship to young girls and students, and how to provoke their interest in the subject matter. So we use videos and career weeks and so on and so forth. So basically that was also related with the next recommendation that is focused on different type of initiatives that we have identified under the project, like esteem or Go Circular. Here we discussed also that these career pathways and efforts that should be done can be included under the first recommendation that's related with the entrepreneurship curricula, because they go very well hand in hand. So the next recommendation, which was focusing on entrepreneurship mentoring network for women in STEM, basically was considered as very important, but we had to be aware that there are different also challenges that are related with the languages. If we have such a platform, we expect that we will have all European languages and different mentors that have to be involved in this process. And also in terms of mentors, but there should be a good match between the mentor and the girl or young woman that wants to be involved in mentoring. So this is also something that should be considered. What type of incentives will the mentors receive? And of course, the biggest question is how this platform is going to a network is going to be organized, and how actually it will be funded and how it will be sustainable. So the next one was related. So next policy recommendation was related with the teacher education, and also with the entrepreneurship competencies building in STEM. So here also some rephrasing was needed. The proposal was to basically focus on in-service teacher education, not on the initial teacher education. The next step and recommendation was dealing with the platform, multi-stakeholder collaboration platform for gender inclusive STEM entrepreneurship. And this platform basically was seen as very important for the employers as well, that they can use it as a platform for seeking girls and women that might join their companies. Next recommendation was dealing with strengthening and aligning the existing platforms that support STEM entrepreneurship educators. And we were discussing here that probably we can have this in one with the previous one, and integrated within one platform, one section to deal with the companies and the businesses, and next section is to be dedicated to teachers or educators. And last but not least, the recommendation dealing with the gender disaggregated monitoring indicators on gender equality in STEM and entrepreneurship. So we have also discussed this is very important, because we have to know what is the level from which we are targeting the problems, and we consider very key areas such as participation in STEM education, gender equality, and so on and so forth. So basically, the final comments were dedicated to the prioritization, and prioritization according to Gregory and the participants in the group was the one dealing with the mentoring, trying to the STEM.
I think if I may jump in, because we didn't finish this. Okay, the curriculum, of course, is very important. Then we have the mentoring, which is supporting activity for young girls. And then, of course, the what was the other platform that will support, would be the infrastructure for this. And the last one, which is the indicators, is a good way for companies, especially, to measure the gender equality. There is a way to do this, and they can advertise. So it's a good incentive to create a system where you give a measuring instrument to companies to measure their gender equality in their company. So you can also run surveys, whatever. But companies would be interested to have a high score, let's say, in gender equality. And so these four elements can be put together in some plan. That's all from me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Am I the only male in this group meeting today?
It seems so.
Interesting. I should make sure I take a screenshot photo with all of you. Huh?
Yeah, we are not surprised. I mean, we are rather get used to it that there are only a few men when we are talking about gender equality. So we are not that much surprised about this. But so thank you very much for your contribution. I think it was very We had a really limited time to discuss, but I think this point on how to make the companies more interested in finding out that what the girls are doing and women doing in STEM, I think this is a very good point, and we should somehow reflect it in our recommendations, I think. So let's just make a note on it. And it's really time that we go to the second session, which was facilitated by Sanya. So Sanya, please share what happened in your group.
Yes, thank you. We've been a little bit a bigger group, but apart from us, four from Institute Mihajlo Pupin, we had four external guests. So we had two educators, the teachers, and two representatives of stakeholders. So we mostly, of course, gave them a floor to reflect on the recommendations. First, when discussing on the first recommendation, access to finance, what we learned is that in many of the calls for subsidizing women's businesses, there are not, for example, possibility to subsidize raw materials. So we can imagine that in some activities related to science, like biotech or similar, raw materials are necessary as well. This was also highlighted as a gap. It is mentioned as well the role of AI in searching for the funds, and Maria shared with us the very useful information on existence of the application 𝗪𝗏, where it is easy to find funds for business development or for access to finance for big projects of women's businesses. And this platform or application, 𝗪𝗏, has different segments like grants, like tenders, and this is something which can help women. But I would add probably that the information of these new modern ways to access different financing is missing, and this should be updated all the time, and the information on that should be provided through networks gathering women entrepreneurs, and the new information should be shared. Then it was mentioned that peer learning is very, very important, and this is the opportunity for not only young women entrepreneurs, but women entrepreneurs of all generation to learn from each other, and in parallel to be educated how to protect intellectual property rights, because when they speak about in open way about their businesses, they share also some innovative concepts that could be in a way be a business secret. So there is a lack of this kind of awareness, and it should be also involved in some training and education, and it should be more included than it is now. Also, it was mentioned that women entrepreneurs, especially those of elder generations, are not that much familiar with creating videos as a form of promoting their businesses. So this is also something that should be included in training and supporting them to better promote their businesses. It was also mentioned that women of elder generations very often faced with the problem of inheriting the business. If they do not have their successors among family members, they can't easily sell their business, because it's not like simple to just sell your business. You can want to do that, but the buyers are not very eager to buy your business. And it was mentioned that in Germany this is particularly seen as a problem. So there is some 200,000, 300,000 SMEs that will not have any successors, and probably these businesses will be closed. This is something that there some kind of support from the institutions should be also launched, like a platform or something where these businesses can be presented, those who are searching for the successors, not for the buyers, but successors. Also, thanks to the fact that we had 2 participants from the side of educators from the schools, we learned that there are in Serbia makers labs where pupils in STEM are involved, but with only few, like 2 to 4 girls within that labs, which is really underrepresentation of girls in STEM and in entrepreneurship in STEM. Although there is it seems that there is a rising trend, increasing trend of involvement of girls in STEM and entrepreneurship in STEM, still the promotion that is organized by big companies and support that is currently provided by big companies should be continued. So business sector should contribute a lot in raising awareness and building the self-confidence of girls as well, by promoting role models among their employees, female employees, engineers, etc. And I would add that Girls' Day in ICT, which we in Serbia are organizing in a very systematic way for years, really gave the results. After 15 years. We see that probably that girls are more familiar and open to these STEM sectors. But in general, makers labs are not gender mainstreamed. This is something which was the conclusion. I don't know if I forgot something. Maybe my colleagues could add, but I think, of course, all other recommendations are confirmed. So this is all from us.
Okay, thank you. Were there was there any discussion regarding which are the most important recommendation? Like,
we actually,
or you did not have the time for that?
We didn't have a time to prioritize them, but we started from access to finance as we agreed that this is the most important, and then the ideas just came up, not by priority, I would say.
Okay. So thank you very much. And let's ask the participant if there is anything you would like to add to this summary. And if not, and Charlotte, where are you? Okay, you're just next to me on the screen, so please,
Yeah.
the floor is yours. Please share what you were discussing at your room.
Yeah, so we were also a rather small group in our session, and but I think our discussion ran mainly around two of our policy recommendations. So we started looking into all of them, and then while we were looking at them, people started to provide some inputs. And then we started to have a discussion also. I mean, I think it ended up around policy 3 and 4, also because of the profile of the people in the room. So it was us from Wonderfund, Ina was there as well, and 𝗪𝗵𝘁 from a technical university. So I think the discussion naturally ended around these two recommendations. And so 𝗪𝗵𝘁 shared a bit also on their experience at the technical university, where one of the main challenges to attract girls into their programs, to apply more. And what came out most from this discussion was the importance of networks and visibility and role models as a role model for the youngest generations or for the students to engage, so they can hear the stories, they can hear their experience, and by seeing that those women are engaged, that can also trigger their interest. Another, beyond those mentorship or like role models, the hands-on experience came out also to be something that was very important for girls to engage into STEM, because then they can test. I think this is something that 𝗪𝗵𝘁 experienced, but also something that we experienced in Sweden when we implemented the STREAM-IT activities, that they have lots of prejudice before they do or test things, and then showing them or letting them try things, suddenly the barriers is massively lower, because suddenly it's like something that they can also do. So I think like a mix, I mean, those two main elements, like having access to network, visibility, sharing experience from role models who are already engaged in the field, together with practicing themselves, are very two main triggers for more engagement. What else did we discuss? We discussed also for some of the recommendation, but I think that can be also applied to many of them, is like how those recommendations will be implemented. So, for instance, we were discussing in one of the recommendation, we are recommending that basically schools take more responsibility for those hands-on activities. But at date, we know, and that's also from our experiences, it's like either you have a teacher within the school who's kind of like who understand the importance of such activities, and then is willing to push from the school in for the girls or for those kind of programs, and that will facilitate, or it needs to be part of the program, because for probably many schools in Europe, it would be add-ups. So unless you have like a champion in your school, it will be difficult if it's not integrated in the program. And we know that if you need to integrate it into the program, then you need the decision makers, most likely, to push for that. So one thing we've been discussing on this, it's like maybe to start with will be, as we've been doing, for instance, like try to find a champion in the different school to at least reach to the girls. And second, or in parallel, work with decision makers to try to embed that into their curricula. We discussed also when it comes to startups and investors. So we also had a discussion around the investments that all the studies shows that if we want also more female founders to be invested in or to receive funding, we need more women investors. So we know at the moment that crowdfunding or syndicates are kind of a low-hanging fruit for women to invest. So basically, we need to work towards bringing more women to become investors. But also one thing that would be important is that those women investors, because the trends show that they would tend to invest in other women, it's also important that they could also share what they are interested to invest in, but also what is the market need, because that could also trigger interest or like future development from girls to take over, because if they understand that there's a market and that there could be money behind, they could go for it. What else did we discuss? Please feel free to jump in if I miss something. Yeah, the importance of the platform. So there were some comments about, so the visibility about the networks. There were comments about that there's multiple networks, and I can't agree more with that. I think connection between the networks is important, but also something that we've experienced, for instance, in 𝗏𝗏, like we developed this digital platform, and on that digital platform, we created a repository of ecosystems. So this digital platform is basically dedicated to female founders. It's open to gender-conscious stakeholders, but focusing on women founders. And on the platform, you have a repository of ecosystem supporters, other female founders that you can contact in the different regions in Europe. So it's a kind of a one-stop shop dedicated to women. So this kind of repository, so girls and women know where to, which door to open or whom to address in the ecosystem, and maybe that could also lead to avoid duplicating the efforts and maybe find more collaboration and alliances from the networks themselves. Yeah, I think, I don't know if you want me to read, because there's been a few comments left as well on the document, but I think everyone can read that. When it comes to ranking, obviously, since we mainly addressed 2 recommendations, the ranking goes around that. So I'm not sure how we should address it, if it's because I don't think it's because the others are not interesting, but it's more because we were mainly on this. So I think from the ranking, policy recommendation number 4 would be considered as a priority, and the second priority would be policy recommendation number 3. I think there could also be ways where, depending on how we write the policy recommendation, there could be more things going into it when we go in the development. So some kind of subcategories under the recommendation. But yeah, I think the main message from our discussion is that network visibility and practice.
Network visibility and practice, and the platforms. I think that's very.
And platforms, yeah. I think the digital.
We had this conversation in our room, because there are too many. I mean, there are enough platforms already. There are enough platforms for networking. There are lots of initiatives for mentoring. Just like how you just put
but
it
I think
in
the digitalization element is also. I was reading an article about that. Women tend to take on the lead in AI and digitalization somehow. So maybe that's a way, I don't know, like you gain more confidence because you're not like in a room with many men, or I don't know, but I think it was a quite interesting opening.
Okay.
But the digital infrastructure is certainly a way where you can easily lower barriers.
Okay. Okay, is there anyone would like to add by the end of our webinar anything? I think we are starting losing the participants, so this is really time to end our session. And I just would like to say for those who are still here with us that this was very useful for us, although you just participated in one breakout rooms, but we will collect anything. So we will go through again what was said. We will put that down. We will create a note of everything, and this is always very useful for us because in this way we can see that which are the recommendations which are really like not necessary to be there, which are the recommendations we need to merge, what is missing, what kind of topics are missing. So thank you for all your contributions. This was really valuable for us. And if you would like to know more about the 𝗓𝗵𝗁 project, please contact us. Or if you would like to cooperate with us, collaborate with us with any kind of activities, we are very open for that. So thank you very much for your participation. This is the end of our webinar. So have a good day to everyone, and thank you for being here with us.